Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be playing in the NC-70 Błyskawica. This is a tank that I really wanted to love. I saw its statistics when it was getting released, and Wargaming copied over the mechanic from PC, and it looked great. Unfortunately, now that I've had the opportunity to play this tank and formulate opinions over the past couple of months of it being in the game, I gotta be honest, it's not nearly as good as I expected or wanted it to be. The major problem with the Błyskawica is that it doesn't really have any flexibility. You see, the vehicle only reverses at 12 kilometers per hour. And when tanks reverse that slow, but they also have a very aggressive playstyle, it puts you in a pickle, because you'll want to drive this thing aggressive due to the mechanic that gives you more damage the closer you are. But when you play it aggressive, you also have a massive lower plate, only 6 degrees of gun depression, and pretty weak track wheels. So it's very counterintuitive. You play it aggressive and you get nuked. You play it passive, you deal no damage. If I were to buff this tank, and Wargaming, if you're ever listening to this video, there are two things I would do. First of all, buff the reverse speed to 16 kilometers per hour. That alone would solve the vast majority of problems. The second change is give it 7 degrees of gun depression instead of 6. Those two changes would allow this tank to be great. The Grom is the collector version of this line, and the Grom has a lot of those issues solved. The Grom is very good on gun depression, and not to mention, the Grom has slightly better reverse speed at 13. It's better, right? It's not great, but it is still better. So I do think that if Wargaming were to buff this tank in those two areas, it would allow it to be at least a bit more enjoyable. But you guys can let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know if this is ever a line you'll consider grinding for. And I'm not going to say that this is a bad tank, because I have played it quite a bit, and I have pretty decent statistics in it. And I remember one time I was playing this vehicle, I did like 4K 15 games in a row, so it's not like it's a bad tank. It's more that it's such a situational vehicle, and if you're not using 90% of your brain power, you really struggle. So we have the enemy M48 Patton in front, and yeah, didn't expect that to hit. You see, this thing's not very accurate. It's not like horrible, but you're definitely not going to be hitting any crazy shells in this tank, which is also something you'll want to keep in mind when driving it. So we're going to move up. We have all of our mediums playing very aggressive, and I feel like we can get away with playing aggressive ourselves. I could regret this, but I guess we'll find out, right? We have the enemy M48, we got the Contra Car over here, we're going to aim it on that player, and boom, there you go. Nice 617 damage shot. That's a pretty solid juicer. Spawn camping Leopard, and there you go. A good example of the armor on this tank not really working. And you can see that at 400, or, you know, whatever the distance is, we didn't really deal any damage. So, yeah, it's a good example of, like, even the corner cutout, that Leopard PTA went directly through. So, the armor, it's not, like, horrible, but it definitely doesn't work a great amount. And it's because you don't have that gun depression to really put this tank on a flexible level of gun depression. Alright, so let's see what we can do here. We got the M48 Patton in front, and ooh! Oh, that's gotta hurt there. Oh, man. BS? I don't know. Don't show your hatch, dude. Like, you're blaming me for your misplays. It's really not something I can be blamed for. Let's see if we can get the Contra Caro shot. Nice. 491 into his lower plate. The Patton's gonna back off, and I can't really make a play because there's only 2 tanks left, neither of which have any health at this point, so I would definitely consider that a waste of my time. Let's see. Our M48, there you go, pushes him. He's dead. And now we are going to push the enemy E100. And again, this is a great example of where the Błyskawica is super duper dangerous. Well, I guess it's not, because the E100 is just going to drive out into the open and kill himself. But when you can get the gun on this thing to work, it does feel really good. So we're going to push this E100. Oh, so close, yet so far. All right, let's try again. We're within 50 meters of this player, which means we have our 700 damage here. However, we don't deal any of it, so that's a bit of a bummer. We get hit by the enemy Błyskawica, and great, the Sheridan hits me. So, yeah, we have 23 health now. I make one slight aggression, and my game is ruined. How fun. Oh well, we're going to chill here, and Sheridan pokes me for some reason, which allows me to deal 600 damage. So we ended up dealing 4k. Notice how just the moment I played aggressive, though, the thing falls apart. And, like, yeah, I didn't obviously know that Błyskawica was there, so that's definitely something to keep in mind, but I don't know. It is a weird tank for me. As I said, I don't hate it. I just wish it was a little bit more flexible, a little bit more enjoyable. Because the question is, would the 113 GFT deal with these problems? And honestly, no. Not only does the 113G have a better power to weight, but it also features much better hull armor. So when I got shot by those two mediums in the beginning, I don't think this tank would have had that happen, which means that I just wouldn't have bled health. But there you go. 3,900 damage, top in the team. Let's try a couple more games and see how the Błyskawica can perform. Hopefully it'll do well. You know, sometimes people watch me play and they'll be like, oh, what do you mean, Droodles? You're clearly doing well in the tank, so what's the problem? And the question is enjoyment, right? Because for me, I want a tank that's enjoyable to not require my brain to work overtime to perform well in. Like, for example, the Leopard 1 and Grille 15 are two tanks that are very lightly armored that obviously require a bit more intellect to perform well in versus an IS-7. But the thing about the Grille and the Leopard is that they still feature enough standout capabilities that allow them to be flexible, right? I mean, the Leopard, sure, it doesn't have armor, but the gun's amazing. Its mobility is great. The DPM, the gear oil allowing you to reverse fast, and the adaptive concealment ability all allow the tank to work cohesively together. So even though there are some weaknesses, in general, even if you're not great, you can still do fine in the tank. Same for the Grille, right? You just got to stay in the back and you can do fine. But this tank, it really is a little counterintuitive because it wants you to play aggressive, but when you play aggressive, you immediately die, as we saw in that last game. And that's where I have a bit of an issue. So, as I said, better reverse speed, a little bit more gun depression. I think that those two things alone would solve the problem. I don't want this vehicle to get better armor, because then you're just creating another 113G, but even more dangerous because the thing can frontline with 4,000 damage per minute. We don't want that. What we want is a tank that features good DPM, and the ability to get in and out of position. Would have been nice if my... Okay, bro. This 113 is definitely getting me a bit frustrated, because I just wanted to work this bush here, and he gets in my way and makes it so I can't hit anything. There you go, nice 545 into the lower plate of the 116, and we back up. 113 is way over-angled and gets penned. Alright, well, I have no clue what our 113's doing, but... Bro, what are we doing? Just stop poking. It's not that crazy of a thought process. Alright, we're just going to chill here. We're going to wait, because there's no way I'm playing aggressive. The enemy 452 makes a poke, and there you go. 650 damage right there. Not bad. And we don't even get spotted, so that's really nice. We're going to put on my adrenaline, and... Ooh, here we go. Boom, there you go. Another 620 damage. That's pretty good. That puts us up to 1,800 damage already. However, there's a Caro on our rear, which is going to be a serious problem pretty soon here, so can't really do anything about that. We have the 116, which I get another shell into as well. You can see that the damage definitely falls off pretty fast in this thing, right? I mean, even at this distance, our damage fell off. We're even in that 116 lower plate again. There you go. Another 620 damage, which means that we are up to 3k already. So that's all very, very nice and dandy. The 116 is reversing. We're going to aim it on the 116 again, and I'm going to load a gold shell to guarantee that pen. Well, we do get hit by the Błyskawica. That's not really the threat. It was taking that 116 out of the game. So now that that player's gone, I don't really need to worry nearly as much. This Błyskawica is doing nothing but obviously trying to tunnel me, and I don't really care. He can do that all day for all I care. We're going to sit here, and we're going to see if he pokes this corner. He might. Obviously, I have to be really cautious about what else might roll, but... we'll see if he pokes the position. Looks like he's falling back. We have the enemy IS-7 over here, which we get a nice 514 shell into. But again, look at the reverse speed. I mean, what do I do here? You know, I've got these enemy heavies that are about to push me, and this is a very, very bad position to be in. We got the Błyskawica, who hits me for 556, and I can't really back up, so I'm kind of just cooked at this point. But we did do a lot of damage, to be fair, so I can't really get too mad about this current time frame, really. I got hatched. I don't even know how that Eric hit me. I don't. Huh? I don't know where he hit me. I'm actually very confused on that one. Okay. We did 5,300 damage, which is really good. But again, you'll notice how, like, the moment I need to back out of that situation, I mean, I just can't. I don't have that mobility. That reverse speed just kills you when you're too aggressive sometimes. But to be fair, we did a lot of damage. I swear every time I make a video saying, I want to love this tank, but I can't, I do really good. And then it's the opposite. When I say a tank is the best thing ever, it's like the easiest, you know, losses of my life, and my whole team falls apart. Now, we could win this game, but I don't think we will. Yeah, especially not with our super comp getting absolutely clapped like that. Well, what a shocker. We did end up losing this game, but I can't really get too mad as we did 5,278 damage. I can say that one of the major reasons why I was very frustrated with this tank's performance is probably when I 3-marked it. You can see I have a 99% mark in this tank, which is the highest possible percentage you can get when it comes to 3-marking a vehicle. And the reason that it's such a high mark percentage is because when this tank was first able to be 3-marked, it had a bar of 265 XP. It has now fallen massively, but for some reason it was an incredibly high XP bar, way higher than it ever had any right to be. So when I was marking the tank, I was losing my mind because I had to average like 3,800 damage in a vehicle that didn't really do that. So yeah, I don't know. You know, that's definitely another reason why I got pretty frustrated with the Błyskawica. But overall, I mean, I have to say the tank has been performing pretty well today. But definitely, again, some of the major weaknesses have shown. The reverse speed definitely killed us in that last game. And I don't even know where we got penned by that Eric. A no camo player who I looked at their stats. They're like a 45%er hit us, and that literally took us out of the game. So that was so unfortunate. But either way, last game, let's see what we can do. We have an E100, a VK90, and a Kron. Okay. This tank does best when fighting super heavy, so definitely a, good situation to be in here. We're going to try and get as fast as we can into the front line. But while this tank may have a 45 km/h top speed, it has a very poor power to weight ratio. So you can see even with my speed boost active, we're barely going 40. All right, let's see. The other problem is, again, at this distance here, we're down to like 500 damage a shot. It's not like bad damage, but it's definitely nothing, amazing. Oh my god. That not only misses, but yeah, that was pretty bad. All right, well, let's reload. It'd be nice if my E100 wasn't directly in my way. Thank you. All right, we got the VK90. They have a Badger, but I don't think that the Badger is obviously going to be playing too aggressive here. And wow. That shell was horrible. That was actually just such a horrible shot from this thing. Alright, well, the Yag appears to have gotten pretty chunked by my Yag. We're going to move up, and I'm going to do it on flat ground because, again, I don't feature gun depression in this thing, so flat ground is probably the best play to make. I have no clue where a lot of the vehicles are on the enemy team, but I feel like if we chill right here... Okay. This is where we're starting to notice some of the problems with this tank, right? I mean, how does that miss, dude? Honestly, how does that miss? That is such an easy shot, and the game's like, nah, you're just going to completely miss that. All right, well, there you go. Nice 700 damage shell into that player. And I'm just going to chill here for now. See if we can take the Yag out of the game. Of course. Of course. Where? Where? I don't even know where. I think he hatched me. Because they always do. They're that good at the game that they can directly hatch me with no effort whatsoever. Now what I need to do is turn around and help out with this E50, which we do get a 630 damage shot into, so that's nice. Unfortunately, my teammate still dies from the E50, which is not very good. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put on speed boost. I'm going to rush the enemy object 140. I think that the medium flank right now is the major problem, and if we can take out the medium... Okay, well that was interesting. I'm going to try and shoot the Kron now. Let's see if I can get a shell into the Kron. Aiming. Boom, there you go. 528. Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's reverse before the Badger can hit me. I'm really not liking the fact that this E50 is over here. Aiming. Boom. What? Wow. That is insane. The fact that we just didn't deal any damage to that player, that's not only insane, that's ridiculous. I'm sorry. That's absolutely ridiculous. All right, let's take the Badger out of the game. E50's dead. And we actually brought this game back. I played smart. I put myself in a position that allowed us to take advantage of the enemy's weaknesses. Okay, I was never going to hit that, but it's fine because we need to move up over here anyway if we want to deal some more damage. We'll be reloaded by the time we get into position. So here we go. Keep on going, keep on going. Hello, Mr. E100, aiming, and boom, there you go, 627. Let's push up a little bit more. The 263 will most likely out-reload us, and then we're just going to fire a shell into his turret. And there you go, 5,000 damage. So, I don't know. We had 3 really good games in the Błyskawica, but my point still stands. When this thing doesn't do well, it completely falls apart. And it is a very noticeable and problematic thing about the tank. I don't think that the Błyskawica is bad, and we can clearly see that. And my statistics support that as well, with 3,400 average and 73% win rate. Like, it's not a bad tank. But I just wish that it got a little bit more gun depression and a bit better reverse speed. It would allow it to be perfect in the current auto-loading meta that we sit in. You guys can let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!